face after that uppercut from the DBS. Zerich from absolutely miles away, looking to get involved with this fight where possible, scanning the hillside with his eyes and keeping a nice understanding of the situation. Meanwhile, here we see MBE starting to dive in an assault inside of the compound. Bullet after bullet, whizzing close by. Nasa now re-aggressing as well, looking to try and push their way back through. Spam up close. Fist Boy needs to land an uppercut. Not looking too good for him though, as he'll go down to the spray. How on earth is he still alive with a trickle of HP blank? It felt like he was trying to 1v4 that with nothing to his name.
I mean, Xenox did an incredible job there, but his quest coming in over towards Reject. They're holding on as best they can, and the crash is just not working out. Luther immediately gets inside. They want to keep hold of all four members here. They know they've got a strong position to be working with. Duello moves in, tries to clear out the player, but he gets a nice little sideswipe back in towards the door. Finally, as Tixi will pick up an elimination over towards Fahidan. But 6 eliminations for Gladiators. Once again, a pretty decent result for this squad. They'll have to push on through, potentially third-partying down towards this position on Reject. Could be a good idea, but even Meku still putting on the hurt versus Inko. Holding on whilst Kitsune scouts towards the western side of the circle. This is far, far better for Gladiators so far. You can tell the teamwork is here. Yesterday, they just felt so disjointed.
Well, they're just fighting as well, Blank. I think that's the one big difference, right? Is we're seeing them play so confidently now where they're actually pulling up, looking like they're going into these engagements with the idea being to win them, with the idea being to get elims. Whereas yesterday, it felt a bit timid. It felt like they were playing inside of a box and kind of waiting for teams to come towards them. So I'm glad to see it. Definitely a much needed facelift for Gladiators, looking a lot more like the side that we like to see, at least. A lot of movement going on now as well. Bit of reshuffling. There's a ton of commotion down here. So everyone's kind of ringing the proverbial dinner bell, if you will. And it started to bait in the rotators, the mandem that want to pull up and try and squirrel away some of the points. So let's see if that'll be a potential outcome here. Roadside shenanigans for NBE. Meanwhile, Melise engaging on Alter Ego. That was big, Blank. Nice nade to open it up.
Yeah, an absolute chunky nade as well. Kisyu looks for another, sends it in, but Alter Ego is tucked away just for the time being. Smoke's been dropped down by Melise Esports. They don't want to get caught off on the side here. In the meantime, Becker on his lonesome trying to take down the rest of DX Xavier. Does find at least Levi's here, which is fairly impressive indeed. CEO later off in the wings, looking to see if he could spot any of the players here in Lipovka. Alter Ego, they drop in Lipovka itself. This is where they've resided for a very, very long time now, looking to potentially get a little bit more out of it. But Melise have them surrounded. Reject once again, surviving their position, they'll have to move forward. They know that UDO Alliance are behind them.
UDO, what can they do in a spot like this, playing on a hillside? Flax adjusting the crosshair, paranoid about the smoke expiring to his left, but wants to prioritize the correct angle, hoping they can get some shots off onto Reject. Once they expose themselves, they've got a three-pronged smoke wall blocking themselves at the minute, with the tree geometry providing a bit of cover as well. Slowly pushing their way up past the bushes now, as Lufa will jump in the rotate car. Oh, should have got info on that as well as he drove up. Seems like he knows he could be peeked from the ridge side. So we'll smoke that off and try and cover himself. Clark's up top, Blank. Man's got the DMR as well to work with potentially here. Seems like it's the shotgun also. Nice little DBS for close range engagements. And nades to boot. That could be a bit of a banger. Seems like it should be on target, but slightly off the mark.
Yeah, you really need an airburst here, but a nice shot comes through, and I think that's from MBE Sports actually over towards UDO Alliance. The Gladiators continue to lose members. Squash finally does go down off in the distance. And the circle does center up and confirm up towards Lipovka. So any team that made that decision early is happy about it. But look at this. UDO Alliance is losing members left and right, but the drop shot will at least keep them alive for a little bit longer. But the drop shot just ends up with them being dropped themselves. UDO Alliance out and Reject up to 5 eliminations. A very different face on this team, looking more Oni-esque today. Demonic coming through from Reject.
This is more what we wanted, right? You're raising hell a little bit now. They're getting stuck into the game, Blank, not playing as timid, fighting when necessary, trying to play towards center, contesting for edge control when needed. It's better from Reject, but they've got to maintain that, keep that course going. Don't let it drop. half now, as they do at least find their way through the test of Udo and control that one. NBE keep popping up all over the shop. It feels like NBE have just been running back and forth, trying to stay alive from this roadside, having little moments of chip damage onto anyone that peeks into them. They're still here for now, just in front of Rejects. They're exposed if they go for a bit of a push. They're just using the smokes to hold themselves for now, but Zara is engaging with it. It's a nice first nade. Got the lineup on the second as well, Blank. The nades alone could be enough to deal with them.
Man, the long arm on Sarah is looking good, but nasty shots coming in from Nakaze through the smoke, takes down a fair few of them. Now Duello left to challenge versus Nakaze off in the distance. Nice shot on the edge, but quickly cleans them all up. And what a clean finish there from Nakaze at the end. It looked like it was all done and dusted for the squad, but fantastically well held out by Nakaze. Gladiators still at 4 players alive, but one of the final teams to be on this northern edge alongside them and NBE Sports. Mad Bulls up to 5 eliminations, Gladiators up to 8. They're doing good here. You asked about a bit of a repeat. We even heard about the dinner bell, and so far Gladiators have been hitting us with some nice mash rotators at the moment. These rotates have been clean.
Whatever they're cooking up today, Blank, it looks like it is fresh, not frozen. Nothing being reused here. Ooh, turning up the heat, though, as the kitchen metaphor continues. Have to get out of that one. Melise set ablaze, couldn't handle it. Kiss You dropped, as the M4 will give him the damage. Business being done. Mad Bulls close by as well. They can start to breach and clear. Take the players out that are inside of these buildings now, but Frozen crumbles. He cracks under the pressure on the contact, and it's all getting a little bit sheepish. Constant damage being fired out by Gladiators, sure, but no one wanting to make the first mistake. You have such a sheer number of squads all close, shoulder to shoulder inside of these compounds, with only Gladiators being able to complete the push down towards the beach side. They're in a pretty dream spot right now, and it's going to be so much harder for this heat map of teams we can see all on top of each other inside of the neighborhood. A nasty neighborhood, Blank. They're not friendly neighbors.
Not at all. Everyone's just leaving some horrid messages on one another's doors right now. People just aren't picking up the newspaper. They're turning the Amazon delivery guy away. They will not be handing that through the post box to their next door neighbor at all. But for Gladiators, what an incredible circle for them. Moves up towards this north side, and they've had direct contact with a lot of these teams on the southern edge. What's great about this rotate from Gladiators as well is that they forced out the Mad Bulls from this position just with sheer firepower. Up to 9 eliminations, set 50 points after the back of this game, just around about 18 points behind Mad Bulls, who we know had a great day yesterday. This has been very, very good stuff from the Gladiators. And again, it's that pressure off in that first game that allows you to succeed later on. They're moving in over towards NBE Sports. Sec, barely any HP. The vehicle flies over the top, and Tixie's there on a Kaze. He's quickly put down, and NBE Sports is out. Oh my goodness me, Gladiators are fighting.
What are we watching, Blank? Is this a Michael Bay movie? Because that was a blockbuster. They come flying through the air, hit the griddy on that one as the shot connects mid-movement, and then they just continue on as well. This is ridiculous. Meku and Kitsune just putting bullets down range, Blank. They are farming.
This was a great move from Meku as well, mate. They left him behind on the side swipe just in case anyone was between the trees. Likely Meku's going to be a sacrifice in this situation, but he's got great lines of sight over towards Duxan, providing very, very difficult terrain for Duxan to deal with. They step out of the way of the bullets from Kitsune as well as Tixie and Matic. They step directly into the bullets from Meku, who's very much safe on this outer edge. Luckily, Zipian is able to get some shots back over towards Kitsune, but it's just Meku and Tixie lighting them up.
They're the Hydra right now, Blank. It feels like if you sever one head, 2 more will grow back in its place. That's what Gladiators are doing right now. A single knock results in them finding 2 elims, or the elims could keep on coming as well, but maybe it'll go in favor of Mad Bulls as Alter Ego wanted to try and ego challenge, but they go down quick. They've got cinder block shoes on that one as Melise third party and Mad Bulls hold on to their compound. Gladiators, though, still showing that they're handy with the sharpened steel, slicing their way through anyone that peeks into them. Now just pushing up the road to close down these and make sure these eliminations are theirs for good, Blank.
Yeah, Tixie flies over towards that position, has the M4 in hand. Lovely nade over the top as well. Finds Hoxie. Now just Binny in the back here. Another nade flies over the top. Nice little Molotov. Will shoot underneath the vehicle. Has eyes on. Just needs to hit these shots now, but is sort of being cut off by the fire, by the smoke. Stands up to try and hit this one. The step out is there and Tixie gets taken down. Meku left remaining for the squad, but honestly, with the amount of damage the Gladiators been able to do, they've just been looking for those eliminations. We talked about this early on as well, Jackie, in the sense that eliminations desperately what you need. This is what you can confirm in these games. This is what you know you can handle, and I appreciate that they're just fighting for them.
Exactly. It's the one part that you can control just by playing aggressive, playing confidently, and guaranteeing those eliminations. And that's what they've done. They've played for the elims here. Now they can try and see what they can squeeze out in terms of placement, because the other teams are doing the infighting for them. And it's whittled us down to only 2 players. Really, you've got to worry about. Oh, man. Mad Bulls licking their lips at the prospect of this one. They do find Meku. He's exposed himself from behind the rock. Now it's simple pickings. As long as Mad Bulls could reset, you do have an edge. The battle of attrition is in your camp. They're setting themselves up for a chicken dinner, but Zerich will expire.
For Duxan, this is going to be a very, very important game for them. You know, 3 eliminations, it's not ideal. You go out this with a second place, 6 points, 9 points total. It doesn't feel great, but if you're able to get your chicken dinner off the back of this in a 2v3, you know, 13 points on this match feels really decent coming into the rest of the day. And with the blue pushing in, it is very, very ideal for them, but the Mad Bulls just look so absolutely clean today. They looked it yesterday as well, and they pick themselves up yet another chicken dinner. That is 3 in the space of 2 days.
That's huge from Mad Bulls. A complete change of pace from what we were seeing from them, looking an awful lot better. And also now, Blank, it goes back to our point about the fact that you don't want to leave it up to another team to decide your fate in the survival stage. You want to make as many points as possible in the limited number of games you have to play. And that's what Mad Bulls are doing in droves.
Yeah, it's a stressful game for Mad Bulls as well. Not an easy one. You can see that they're not super excited about this because it's more of a relief than anything they're able to pull off that chicken dinner. Playing within Lipovka, there was so much infighting in that area, getting forced out by the Gladiators. I think it was a very wise move for them to actually just send across from the rock side in the water toward those buildings. Yes, they had to fight for it versus Melise Esports, but they were confident to do that, and it sort of gave them that winning position. I think things got dicey as soon as they started to see the circle move towards the north side. Like, have we made a mistake? Did we make the right call here? But you just got to follow through. 44,000 kilometers travel for Gladiators once again. These rotates are coming through quicker. They're more confident with them. I don't know what happened between the space of yesterday and today, but there has been some serious conversations between these lads on the team.
Something's happened, you know. I don't know if it happened at the hotel breakfast or where it was, but it seems like Gladiators have got their heads screwed back on, and they're playing some really nice PUBG Mobile today, Blank. You know, this is exactly what we wanted to see in terms of them giving us a good game, showing us they deserve the invite in the first place and that they're able to make some moves here. What more will be in store for us though, and can they keep it up? We'll find out. Let's get back to the desk with the #1 Gladiators fan. It's Jason Kaplan.
Sorry, I think Jackie mixspoke there. Mixspoke. That's the #1 Gladiator fan ever. But we have to say, it wouldn't be Gladiators if they didn't show up exactly when they needed to kind of advance on through in an event. And hey, you know, credit to them, another massive game for them in terms of eliminations, great positioning as well. They were able to crash an NBA Esports and kind of do the exact same thing, just the other way around from the prior match. But also Mad Bulls, man, like, there's so many things to talk about. You know what? We're not gonna talk. No, let's do it. Maxman talked about gladiators, and then we'll hop to what I have ready for Colaris.
Okay, Jason McSpoke. But okay, gladiators. I didn't want to talk about them because I didn't want to curse them, Jason. Okay, that was the reason behind it. Now I see. Okay, but right now, gladiators, of course, playing that high ground position, able to leapfrog in the position that Mad Bulls left open after they regrouped from that 2-2 split was a really good spot. And also, one thing I enjoyed Colaris from gladiators is they tried to go for that high ground on the road. They tried to fight Envest. They tried to also fight Duck Sandwich. Ended up not working out. But I think that if you're not in the city, you want to avoid a lot of that fight happening in Lipovka. Going for that high ground does give you a bit of an advantage. It didn't quite work out because Duxan had such a good angle, but I think that was going to be a game-winning play if they could survive until the later stage.
Honestly, yeah, go on.
ahead. No, you go on.
I was going Doolally in this game, if I'm honest, Jason. I was going crazy because how often do you see a basically close to Lipovka end like this? And for teams to try and manage their way through that, as you say, with Gladiators doing really well in terms of the eliminations and then going to the west for the rotate to try and make this work. Never mind, Mad Bulls winning off a 2-2 split across the rocks of north of Lipovka and in Lipovka. Where do you begin? There's so much to talk about.
Well, obviously the smoke wall that Maxman brought up while we saw Mad Bulls able to transition with the PO smoke wall, as he coined it, to get through safely was something to be seen. But if we're talking about how teams got into Lipovka, let's also mention Alter Ego, Colaris.
Oh.
Do it! Come on.
What are they doing? All right.
You got really close to the mic there.
I got really close to the mic. Okay, they're the Lipovka dropping team. Where were they? They moved west, right? They got lost one to heaven as they were walking through to heaven, which is ridiculous. And then they moved north, and then they have to swim all the way back to Lipovka. They are lost at present. They are taking, I said it before this game, constantly taking risks here in PUBG Mobile. They're playing a very risky style. They've got splits. They're walking where they shouldn't be, going where they shouldn't be. And eventually, yes, they salvaged this, but only because teams that had track of them swimming probably was Pasija, but they got kind of rocked up on Gladiators and kind of lost in the mix. So they were allowed to come back up on the shore of Lipovka. Am I taking crazy pills? Anyway, yeah,
Lost him.
I'm done.
Well, not to mention, you also pointed out, too, when we were watching, that Gladiators is probably the only team that could see them rock up on the beach, but they were about at that 400-meter distance mark away, so potentially not seeing them. Obviously, Melise was in Lipovka, potentially not looking towards them, and we even saw Kissu like, wait, what are you guys doing in that building? How did you guys even get here?
Yeah.
He's going mad. I've never seen him like this.
Melise was like, who is he? What's going on next door? And suddenly, they were just... Anyway, I'm done.
You know what? You know what, Colaris? You need to cool down by playing some of the Frost Festival currently going on within PUBG Mobile. You can revel in the exhilaration of gliding down the slopes in a snowboard and using snow mounts like Maxman talked about yesterday, potentially turning people into snowmen as well. Make sure you guys load up PUBG Mobile, download the new update, and participate and play. Because also while you're playing, we do have the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala happening with PUBG Mobile introducing a brand new competition, exclusive honorable rewards for you guys at home to participate and win. It's all kicking off between November 15th and December 15th, so make sure you guys are getting into the game and potentially able to win some rewards you can show off to your friends. Also, while you're playing in this one, don't forget about the Pagani collaboration happening within PUBG Mobile as well. You can rev the engine with the iconic Pagani Amola and Zonda R models, which I believe. Colaris, are you ready to be salesman yet again? Tell us the
740 brake horsepower. You got a V12 engine as well as 710 Newton meters of torque, Jason. It's a car for you, but it's very expensive in real life.
Well, my question is, can I fit in the car? Because we all know I'm extremely tall.
Probably you cannot, actually. You're probably too tall.
Okay, well, that's a shame. Maybe we can get special order one and make one for me. And also, last but not least, before we head to a break here, the new RP-A4 Victory Dance, which is available now. You guys can show off your victories with the PMGC vibe, and also use your Victory Dance to cheer for your favorite PUBG Mobile team. And we all know who people are voting for. Max is all aboard the Gladiator train, but we have to wait till that train takes off after the side of a short break. Well, Max, I know how you are the biggest fan of Gladiators, but luckily for you, we don't have to talk about them too much more because it looks like with the points they've gotten these last 2 matches alone, that should almost guarantee them a safe position into our last chance. However, it does get easier from there. Keep in mind, it's only 16 teams advancing from this into that, and it's only 5 teams advancing from the last chance to get back into the PMGC Grand Final. So a lot of work to come for the Gladiators and obviously a lot of other teams out there. But as we are about to head into our second air angle, my question is this. Kalaris, Ultra Ego, are we going to see a weird rotation again?
Maybe. I think it depends on the playing path. I think they're probably going to... If the playing path doesn't favor Lipovka, I think they're going to try and go for cars and maybe fight someone. We'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you for your contribution here, Max. Ben, we're going to head over to our commentators to kick off our second air of the day, Jackie and Blake.
It's interesting because Max always just makes such thought-provoking points, Blank. It feels hard to kind of, even regurgitate what he said, as it's just so big-brained.
Yeah, you can't quite, grasp it a lot of times, and you do need to watch it back a few times afterwards and just really get the notes in there, understand what's going on. But I'll have to do that after the show, I think, as well, really.
Well, it was a big segment. It was a big segment.
Yeah.
We don't have time right now to... I'd have to get out the notepad.
We can't break
some
it down.
highlighters.
Yeah.
No, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. But obviously, Jason just said Gladiators will win, so I get where he's coming from.
Yeah. That was very clear that Jason said that Gladiators would win again. It's definitely going to be a Gladiators first place chicken dinner on this one. I think they're just playing out of their minds right now. I don't know what's gotten into them. What's quite frustrating about this, though, is that they're getting some flashbacks to last year a little bit, where they made it past the survival stage into last chance and then got pipped at the post over towards 5th place. And I don't want all the thunder to come now. I would quite like some of it to be reserved, keep a little bit of that lightning in a bottle for the last chance phase. But again, they've just started stepping up now. I don't know what I'm talking about, really. Keep going, I guess, for the time being.
I do like the idea that you've gone, okay, well, look, you're doing pretty well right now. Let's slow that down.
Slow it down.
Look, if you get too big for your boots,